And at the time that you heard the shots hit your home, what, if anything, did you do at that time?
Got on the floor.
I can send you the recantation, but I
And
think
do
the
it
court,
quickly, because honestly, I don't want to spend the entirety of my evenings doing this case.
I don't think that the court can only look at the specific portion, because I think you need to see the entire video.
Okay, they're gonna stop all the pricing, right? Because I'm gonna lost my job. When they came to my job, threatened to lock me up.
Well, I am very sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
But you are free to go.
Thank you.
Y'all gonna stop the threats? He's talking about the state threatening him to testify. He almost lost his job. And the jury just heard that. Day 144 of the Young Thug YSL RICO trial was a massive failure for the state. 19 witnesses testified, some being law enforcement and others being victims. Yes, you heard me correctly, 19 witnesses today. But the state doesn't really prove much. There's no smoking gun, there's nothing that really ties anyone in the courtroom to anything. The judge gets a little annoyed with how pointless some of the witnesses are. You'll see. Hit subscribe. Here we go, boys. First look at Thug on day 144. Got the brown suit on today and the turtleneck. Shannon Stillwell got the Louis Vuitton on.
What was identified as 5.56 shell casings and 6 9mm shell casings.
Did you have an occasion, without telling what anyone said, did you have an occasion to speak to any persons on scene?
No, ma'am.
Did you observe any persons on scene?
No, ma'am.
All right.
So he just collected shell casings. All right, let's go on to the next one.
Defects on the outside of the house?
Okay. Do you recall how many defects?
No, I do not.
And do you indicate in your report anything relating to where it is that you saw the defects? If you need to refresh your memory, let me know now.
No, it was on the outside of the house.
Okay.
The walls in the bedroom, hallway,
Okay.
the kitchen area.
Defense lawyers won't cross-examine a lot of these witnesses because, let's be honest, they're not very important witnesses.
Or if you know, a gentleman named Quindarius Zachary.
I dated Quindarius Zachary.
Okay.
Quindarius' girl. All right, Quindarius pulling her.
How long did you date Mr. Zachary?
I don't remember.
Okay. Do you know, was that somebody that Mr. Zachary would spend time with, someone named Jeffrey Williams?
That's what he told me.
Okay. Did you ever see him with firearms that he owned?
Yes, I was with him when he purchased one.
Remember, I think something happened where she was shot at and Lil D wanted to retaliate because of it. Disclaimer, I'm on 3 hours of sleep and I bit the inside of my cheek so hard I can barely talk. So that's how my day's going right now.
Did you go and meet with some agents and detectives at the City of Atlanta Police Department a couple days later?
I did.
Okay. And on September 18th of 2015, do you remember who you met with?
I don't.
This is pointless so far, man.
And during that meeting, do you remember talking with and telling the detectives that Mr. Zachary had given a firearm to Antonio Sledge?
Yes.
Okay, and do you remember talking to and describing the firearm that he had given to Antonio Sledge?
Not really, but okay.
Do you remember telling the detectives that he gave Antonio Sledge a small black handgun, the one that you were with him when he purchased it?
I do.
Okay.
She told on her boyfriend like that? That's crazy.
Yes.
Brian Seal wants to approach.
In the times that you were in a relationship with Mr. Zachary, did he travel with Mr. Williams?
Objection, hearsay.
I don't remember.
Rephrase.
Were there times when Mr. Zachary was traveling and you and Mr. Zachary be on a FaceTime call and you would
Objection
see...
to that leading question.
Did you FaceTime Mr. Zachary when he was traveling?
I don't remember.
Okay. Do you remember telling the agents that there were times that you would FaceTime Mr. Zachary when he was traveling?
I believe so, but I don't remember actually FaceTiming him while he was traveling.
Okay. Well, do you remember?
This seems kind of pointless. Like, what's the point of calling this girl? Just because she told him about guns? We already knew this about guns with him.
During that interview with the ATF agents and the Atlanta Police Department. Congratulations. Scared me. Now,
I also would like to point out that sneeze we all just heard is the same juror because I'm pretty sure I recognize this lady sneezes like once a day really loudly.
talked about other firearms that Mr. Zachary had given to
I'm going to
other
object to the leading
friends.
question.
Overruled.
Do you remember talking and telling the agents and the detectives in September of 2015 about other firearms that Mr. Zachary had given to other friends?
I do, but I don't remember any other firearms.
So she was talking a little bit too much about her boyfriend's guns. The whole chat is just saying how pretty this girl is right now. I'm not even trolling.
I remember pulling up on the side of my cousin, and me and her was talking and playing, and then we heard a gunshot.
Okay. And can you tell the jurors, so you heard gunshots, do you remember talking to the...
A gunshot.
Okay. Do you remember talking to the detectives and telling them where the gunshot came from?
I do.
Okay. Can you tell the jurors?
60% of you aren't subscribed. Come on, hit the subscribe bell.
I believe I told them that the guy in the passenger seat had shot the gun.
Okay. And in the passenger seat of whose car?
My cousin.
Ms. Smith?
Yes.
And can you tell the jurors, I guess, who that person was in the passenger seat of your cousin's car, Ms. Smith?
I don't know him, so I don't know, but they told me that it was the guy that she was dating.
I don't want you to tell me what anybody else said, but let me ask you this question. Do you remember telling officers that responded that night, as well as agents and other detectives on September 18th of 2015, that the person in the passenger seat of your cousin's car was someone that you knew by the nickname Kell?
I do.
About a fight that you saw at Club Crucial on April 28th of 2015.
I do, but I don't remember a fight. I remember hearing it, but I don't remember a fight. I heard gunshots.
Okay. And do you remember how many gunshots you heard?
No.
All right. And is that what woke you up, the gunshots?
The second time, yes.
Okay. And after you heard the gunshots, can you tell the jurors kind of what happened or what was going on inside of?
What you mean?
Well, did you get up? Did you leave? Did you go back to sleep? What did you do after you heard gunshots?
I don't remember what I did. I just remember waking up the next morning at my mom's house.
Okay.
So that's pretty much it. She snitched a little bit about people's Instagrams and his guns and shit and little details. But that's it for her. This is Woody's older sister.
And do you have any siblings?
Yes.
How many?
It's 10 of us.
It's 10. I want to specifically ask you about 2. Do you know someone by the name of Kenneth Copeland?
Yes.
Is that one of your siblings?
Yes.
Kenneth ever live with you or stay with you at your home?
Yes.
Did you ever have the occasion to call the police to come to your home?
I did.
Why did you have to call the police to come to your house?
Because I got a threat on Instagram.
Okay. And did you ever have your home shot with bullets?
Yes.
Okay. And was that around the same time you received this threat?
That was after I got locked up.
Okay. When did you get locked up?
After I called the police.
Okay, so you got a threat, got locked up, and then you called the police?
I got a threat. I called the police. They escorted me to my grandma's house. They called me back out and locked me up.
Okay. Once you were locked up, did you ever come home and found that your home was had been shot at or shot up?
Yes.
All right. How long between the time you got locked up and the time you got home? Do you remember how many days that was?
It was the same day.
The same day. Okay. When you got home, what did you find? What do you remember seeing when you came home and saw that your home had been shot up?
Bullet holes.
So none of this is surprising considering we know Woody was a target. His houses that he lived in got shot at.
And is that everything that you showed the police back when you called the police to report that this occurred at your house?
Yes.
All right. Were you locked up for calling the police or were you locked up for something else?
Something else.
Okay. And what was that?
A phase up here.
All right.
And do you all share any children in common?
No, just step kids.
Okay.
My house was shot up.
All right. Were these gunshots shots that were single fire shots or did they sound like a machine gun?
No, it was a machine gun.
All right. And when you say machine gun, are you saying that it sounded like they were in rapid succession?
They were shooting an AK-47.
Okay. How often would you say that Lil Woody would be present at your home?
It wasn't often because I actually didn't want a lot of people at my house.
Did you have a problem with Woody being at your home?
I had a problem because I had a daughter who had a boyfriend who wanted to spend the night with her, and I wasn't going to allow that.
That's fair. That's fair.
Woody was trying to sleep over? So Woody was dating this guy's stepdaughter.
Do you have any other reason to not want her, to not want Woody near your home?
Objection to relevance.
Overruled.
Being a parent and knowing that he was a street guy, nobody want their daughter talking to a street guy, basically, bottom line.
And I hear you say something about being a street guy. What do you have in mind when you say that?
Woody was in the streets.
When you say in the streets, do you say, is it fair to say that you are articulating that he was around people you didn't like?
I didn't know too much know anybody that he hung with, but it's just the things that you heard that he did in the street.
Okay. How do you know that Lil Woody was in the streets, as you say?
He was from McKinneyville.
Okay.
As everybody know, and 30 Deep was from McKinneyville.
Do you know Lil Woody to be a part of 30 Deep at that time? Did you know him to be a part of 30 Deep?
No, I did not. I just know they reside in McKinneyville.
And when you say 30 Deep, what do you know that to be?
It was a gang. It was a group of guys that went around running in stores, running out with blue jeans.
This guy's talking. The Blue Jean Bandits. That's what they used to be called for smash and grabs. Steal shit for designer jeans.
You started to say something and it sounded like you hesitated. Were you about to say, what were you about to say?
About what?
About 30 Deep, when you said it was a group and then you hesitated. What were you about to say?
It was a group of guys that ran in and out of stores stealing blue jeans.
Is it fair to call that group of guys that do what you just described a gang?
Objection.
Sustained.
Do you have personal knowledge that Lil Woody was a part of 30 Deep?
No, I do not.
Okay. Did you know the group that you described Lil Woody to be around ever to be known as the Blue Jean Bandits?
I think the media gave them that name.
Sustained.
He did not try to get that name in there. That's funny as shit. Judge shot it down real quick. There's Woody right there. Woody rolling in this lady.
Do you recall law enforcement coming out that day in reference to such activity?
Like I said, I can't remember. Only time I remember was 2015.
What were you doing when your house was shot up?
In the bed.
Okay. Were you asleep?
Yes.
And was it early morning?
Yes.
Okay. And at the time that you heard the shots ring out and hit your home, what, if anything, did you do at that time?
Got on the floor.
Bro, that's such a good soundbite. I'm obviously not laughing at the situation, but that soundbite's good.
It lasted a long time to shoot up my house.
Yes, ma'am. A handgun or a bigger gun?
A bigger gun.
When you say a bigger gun, do you say, does it sound like it went in rapid succession?
No, like that.
Okay. Was anyone hurt as a result of the shooting?
No, nothing but my house.
So this is another person who's somewhat related to Woody, by the way. I guess the state's just bringing in these people to prove that Woody was shot at, even though we already know all this, and this could be cumulative.
Post this picture that has been depicted as State's Exhibit 200, Delta to social media.
No, nothing about no social media.
All right. Just a few more questions, Miss Merriweather. And how long have you known Lil Woody?
It's been a while.
Okay. Has he ever been over your home?
Yeah, he used to come now.
Okay. Does he still come?
No, my son ain't there. What he gonna come for?
I think she said, my son ain't there. What's he gonna come for? Because I think her son is dead.
Does this conclude your involvement with this particular case?
That's all I know. My son was killed. That's all I know.
Okay. I understand.
My son was killed, that's all I know. Oh boy. I would imagine defense lawyers are going to want to clarify that that isn't about YSL.
You heard that Miss Merriweather's son had been killed, and I just want to let you know that at this point in time, it does not appear that that has anything whatsoever to do with this case, okay?
So remember the older gentleman that was talking about 30 deep? This is his house, I think.
There's one right there, and then to the top, the very top. 1, 2, that I can... 3, there is a projectile and a colander, which was on the kitchen counter.
Couple of questions. Y'all had, when we were reviewing witnesses, told everybody that Officer Clay was only going to be called if homeowner didn't recall things, and then he seemed to have recalled everything. So did we really need her? Probably not.
Yikes. Once again, the state not doing what they said they would do and calling extra witnesses that are unnecessary.
And there were some initial reports served on that same date, not the lead detective's report, but like
okay, so great. I was actually asking about the letters.
So the
were
letters,
things that were brought up this morning.
So it does not appear that either letter was served.
All right, then y'all don't intend to use those, right?
We don't have to use those.
So state not serving something to the defense and now they can't use it? El Bozo?
So I'm just trying to sort everything out before we have a jury in here. I'm trying to understand, my client gave a statement as a victim. I don't know if the state, I understand the state's not intending to use a letter. Is the state intending to use my client's statements at all?
No, I think Mr. SHARDT asked me that yesterday, and I advised that we will not be using, we don't intend to play his statement. We do intend to ask the detective whether or not Mr. Stillwell made a statement, how many statements he made, 2 at the hospital, 1 3 days later, 1 about a month and a half later. In the second interview, he gave more details about the incident in which he was a victim. And my intentions, so I can complete the story and make sure that the jury understands that he subsequently recanted that statement. But that is what's in that letter that I provided to Mr. SHARDT last night. That second letter, he recants everything he told the police.
The second letter that Mr. SHARDT has never until last night gotten notice of.
Correct. And so we cannot put that in, but I would thought that Mr. SHARDT would want the jury to know that his client took that back or took his statement back. But if he doesn't, we have no issue not talking about the second letter.
My understanding of the rules of evidence, first of all, I agree, and I appreciate that the letter's not coming in because it was not provided in discovery. But my understanding of the rules of evidence, I don't know why, these are no ways admissions. These are statements my client made, but he was a victim in a case. So from my perspective, this is all hearsay. And Your Honor, just to give you a little bit, there's parts in this statement where my client is saying, I didn't see anything. I don't know who did this.
Right.
The investigators are sitting in the room saying, well, give us 3 names, give us 3 names. And he's like, I didn't see it. Give us 3 names. So, I mean, that's the type of police work that, quite honestly, leads to, in the 3 names that were eventually given, weren't I think 1 of the 3 was the same people charged. 2 of the 3, I don't believe were ever charged. So, they were just like, give us 3 names, and then they had him look at photo lineups, and he didn't even, and when he was looking at the photo lineups, he didn't even say, oh, this is the person that did it. He's just like, yo, that's Kell, that's so-and-so. So, I don't even think it was a recantation, but I don't want any of my client's statements, the contents of which, and I understand the state has told me they don't plan on playing it, but I don't want them to ask about the contents of it.
In the first interview that Mr. Stillwell gave at the hospital, he said he didn't see anything. Second interview, he was asked to give names. He did not give any names. He didn't say anything. Again, he gave no names in the second interview. It wasn't until November 2nd when Mr. Stillwell asked on his own to speak to the investigators. He told the investigators everything that happened, and then he provided names at that juncture. There was no pressure of just give me 3 names. None of that occurred in the third interview. The state believes that that is still a party opponent statement, that he is still a party opponent in this case. This is a statement that he made to law enforcement regarding an incident that occurred to him as a victim. So, Your Honor, we still believe under the rules of evidence, it would come in as a party opponent statement.
Do you intend to do something about him allegedly later having said what I told you in November, I no longer stand by that now, or whatever he might have said?
The state intended to ask not this detective, because this detective was unaware of the recanting. However,
I don't know what you mean by this detective.
The detective, Investigator Griffin, who was the lead detective on the homicide, he was unaware of it. However, Investigator Dennis was aware that his client, that Mr. Stillwell recanted. And so it was my intention to ask about whether or not Mr. Stillwell took that statement back subsequently.
Okay, and you're saying that this is all, I guess, a statement or an admission by a party opponent because you're offering it against Mr. Stillwell? And how is it against Mr. Stillwell?
You're right. When Mr. Stillwell was shot at, this was all a part of this gang war that we have been discussing.
Okay, I mean, you have any evidence of that?
The individuals who were charged are members of the opposition gang.
And when did it occur?
This occurred on the early morning hours of September 26, 2015.
Has anybody been convicted?
Yes.
Okay, so members of an opposing gang were convicted of this shooting?
Yes, one individual I believe pled earlier this year.
Talking about the shooting where Shannon got shot in a car with some girls, and literally like an innocent lady that was just driving him got shot in the head, I think, and the car flipped.
Okay, and did Mr. Stillwell, when he gave the November statement, identify any of those people?
He did. He identified 3, and I need to confirm. I know one person, Mr. Hardy, I believe is the one who took the plea earlier this year.
And are those 3 people the people that ended up charged?
I know Mr. Hardy was one. I need to see if, I know Mr. Hardy, Mr. Watts, and there's a third person. Mr. Watts, after further investigation, the case was dismissed against him. And then the second individual, I just need to confirm whether or not he was ultimately charged and the case was resolved. But out of the 3 people he identified, Mr. Hardy has taken a plea. In the lead detective's report, the lead detective said that Mr. Stillwell made identifications, and so they posted it all over social media.
She's saying Shannon got exposed on social media, so you recanted his statement.
It was after that posting that Mr. Stillwell recanted, and also my understanding is there may have been some altercations while Mr. Stillwell was in the Fulton County Jail that also led to Mr. Stillwell recanting that statement.
And 2 of the 3 people about whom he recanted ended up with their cases either dismissed or not pursued?
One definitely was not pursued. I am trying to confirm the second individual.
Just to give you a little context, Your Honor, this murder of Tierra Jones happened at about 11:45 p.m. on a dark road, and a car sped up behind the car and started shooting. I don't know. I mean, this case would have been a defense attorney's dream to defend because there would be no indication that Mr. Still would have seen anything. It was after the police were saying, give us 3 names, give us 3 names, give us 3 names, give us 3 names. And
well,
I think,
except a whole month went by.
I understand, and then I think one or maybe 2 of them were charged, but I think it was only one of them. I think it was only Bobby Hardy. I believe it was only Bobby Hardy that was charged.
That is a good point. How did he see anyone if it was dark and they shot from behind and then the car flipped?
I don't see the relevance. Ultimately, I mean, I have a lot of arguments, but ultimately, I don't see the relevance of any of this being in the car. I see that as relevant, but I don't see the relevance of my client's statements to the police regarding this matter.
It's relevant because he identified members of the opposition gang who did the crime, and so that is why it is relevant.
I don't know if you can say the who did the crime part, since even y'all seem to have decided that some of them didn't in fact do the crime.
He ID'd 3
members of an opposite gang, and then he later said, no, I take that back.
Right, and he did it after the opposite gang posted on social media. So all of that, when we're talking about gang evidence and recanting and snitching, all of that is relevant for the jury when a young woman is murdered innocently as an innocent bystander, and there's more evidence than just a car pulling up on the side of a dark road. It starts at a gas station where Mr. Stillwell tells the police he sees some of these individuals at the gas station. There's surveillance video. So there's a number of other pieces to it. To truncate it, we were solely going to talk about.
I think we need to be careful about when we say who Mr. Stillwell said did this as well. And I reviewed the transcripts last night. I've reviewed the videos several times. But my understanding of what happened during the 3rd interview, where identifications were made, was that Mr. Stillwell spoke about seeing Mr. Hardy in the parking lot outside JJ's Chicken. He said he saw him there. And that makes sense to the detectives. Oh, Mr. Hardy, who they're calling him Smoke, I think, is at JJ's Chicken right before the car gets shot up. That makes sense to them. So they say, we have some we have some lineups we'd like to show you. And they read him the lineup admonition, and they show it to him, and he's like, that's Hardy. I think he calls him Smoke. And he identifies Kell. Those other 2 individuals, to my recollection and from the transcript that I read, he never says they did anything.
These are the people that shot me. He just says,
it says, I identified.
This is this person, this is this person. What do you say to that?
In the context of him telling the story of what happened. So that's something that they get cross about.
I need to look at the interview and the letters.
No, the state did not intend. Your Honor, the state intended to ask Investigator Griffin, did you meet with him twice? Did he give you any information those 2 times? Did he eventually meet with you again? Did he provide more information about it? Did he eventually tell you who he thought was involved? Did he make identifications? Who did he make identifications to? After that,
but did he make identifications of, I know this person and this person, versus identifications of these are the 3 people that shot me? That's 2 different things.
The context of the interview is...
So I need to look at it then.
We're about to turn this into a whole nother trial within a trial.
We don't, Your Honor, literally the state was going to have Investigator Griffin on the stand ideally for about 20 minutes, if that. So it's not turning in it's a 25-minute interview, Your Honor.
This is where Miss Hilton like downplays it. She's like, it's only 25 minutes. Let me just do it. Come on, please. Let me just get out in front of the jury that a defendant in the courtroom is identifying rival gang members in an interview. Please, let me do it. It's only 20 minutes. Please, please, please.
Send the interview over to the court. You can review it. It's a 25-minute interview for the court to review. But that's not the state.
To the portion that you maintain is him saying these are the 3 people that did it, and then send me the letter that is the alleged recantation.
I can send you the recantation, but I think
do it quickly, because honestly, I don't want to spend the entirety of my evenings doing this case.
I don't think that the court can only look at the specific portion, because I think you need to see the entire video.
She's getting fed up again.
Send it to me now so that our next break I can start watching it, along with the letter, both of them.
I will send you both.
And Your Honor, I know they said Investigator Griffin's not coming tomorrow. If we need to wait till tomorrow on this, there's one picture that was shared in the Dropbox. And just to remind the court, these were things that were never brought up to discuss the issues with previously. This
This is
Dropbox.
as to this same crime or incident?
Yes,
And, all right,
but we've never litigated
Somebody
it.
send me the picture.
And there's a picture of essentially a young lady, Miss Jones, and it's horrible. And she's
After she's been shot?
bleeding from the face. She's halfway through a windshield, and her body appears to be burned. She's unrecognizable.
Okay.
it's
And the objection would be?
403, prejudicial. I know that my client is not accused of doing this to Ms.
Right.
Jones, but ultimately the state is holding him responsible.
But for him being in the car, this wouldn't have happened to her.
Your Honor, the state did not intend to publish that picture. The state didn't intend to introduce it because, unfortunately, that is what happened. So the state did not intend to publish it. The state didn't intend to introduce it, but I will send the court the picture so you can see all of the pictures that the state intended to.
If it's introduced, then it would be going back with the jury.
Yes, the jurors will see it at some later time, but I didn't intend to publish.
Let me see the picture. Somebody send it to me now. Is there some other?
Why does the jury need to see that when he's not accused of the crime? Seems like they're trying to pull on the heartstrings of the jury there.
In evidence that this woman was killed in the car crash that followed the shooting? That's what happened, right?
It's already in evidence, Your Honor.
That fact, right?
Yes, Detective Dennis testified to that.
I mean, I'm going to sustain that objection to that picture. Unnecessarily.
So do you want me to send it or no?
No, don't worry about it.
Your Honor.
All right, so that takes care of the picture. Yes.
Mr. Williams has a right to then confront and cross-examine Mr. Shannon Jackson because this is confrontation clause. It is the police. It's a victim, from what I'm saying, identifying people in a criminal case.
Wait, Steele snapping here. It does low-key give him the right to cross-examine Shannon.
That's testimonial.
And
So-
what's the state's response to that? I mean, I guess if you are only having it elicited that he made a statement where he identified, how far is it going to go?
Was Mr. Stillwell a victim in a crime? Did you speak to him? Was he able to tell you who he believed to be involved in the incident? Who were those individuals? What occurred? I was going to ask him, what did he tell you happened? They were in a car. It
All
flipped
right,
over.
and so then what do you say about the confrontation clause issue?
Your Honor,
That's clearly testimonial, and it's hearsay. And it might be an admission by a party opponent, but that would be only as to him, really.
And we could do a limited instruction as to him. I mean, he's the victim in the case, so we have to. It's not a crime. It's not a part of the conspiracy. He's the victim of a case. If it only has to be used against him to say that he was the victim, then we can have a limited instruction that.
Well, but you're not just using it to show that he was the victim.
We are showing that it was a part of the gang war, but that he was the victim in this case. Earlier, a few weeks ago, we brought in the other shooting that involved Mr. Stillwell, where he was shot a few weeks prior to this at Glen Street.
And did any of his statements come in at that point?
No.
All right, well then, that's not really comparable.
You mind if I could just have a moment to research that particular issue to see.
I understand the statement. He is saying that he saw Hardy talking to his girlfriend in the parking lot of JJ's Chicken shortly before they left.
So he never says that he thinks anybody did this shooting. He just says, here are the circumstances leading up to it.
That's my understanding. It would defy logic for him to have seen who the shooters were. It was a car sped up behind and started shooting in the windshield, and then his car, the car.
Right, well, I mean, he could have said he was at the JJ's Chicken in a blue Buick, and then I saw a blue Buick drive up again, but I don't know if that's what happened.
He said the car was. He thought it was a newer model car because of the style of lights. Is my recollection of what he said.
And does he tie a car he saw at the JJ's
I don't believe
Chicken
so.
with a?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
I think we have different understandings of the video, Your Honor. I just think once we do the research on the confrontation clause issue, then I believe we're sending over the interview to the court.
Hilton thinks SHARDT is misrepresenting what Shannon says. This is a shit show over a case where Shannon was a target. He's not even the person that did a crime in this.
Being shot up on January 13, 2015?
Yes.
Okay. Would you please tell the jury what you remember about that incident, if you will?
Only thing I know, my van got hit twice. That was it.
Okay. And do you know if the actual home or actually the structure of the home was hit from your recollection?
No.
Okay. Were you hit by any bullets or gunfire?
No.
Okay. What, if anything, did you see that morning?
That night morning?
Well, yes.
A police.
Okay. Did you see any yellow tape or anything like that?
No.
Okay. Was it a lot or a few police?
Few.
And what type of vehicle did you own in terms of van?
It's a white van.
Okay. How long had you had it?
About 3 years.
Do you still have it?
No. I left it the following day.
Okay.
This guy, this shit's pointless.
After you moved, did you have any further involvement with this particular matter or incident? No further questions.
Any questions for this witness by the defense?
Thank you. No questions.
No, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you for your time. You are excused. Call your next witness.
So that's it, right?
That's it.
Okay, they're gonna stop all the threats, right? Because I'm gonna lost my job. When they came to my job, threatened to lock me up.
Well, I am very sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
But you're free to go.
Thank you.
Y'all gonna stop the threats? He's talking about the state threatening him to testify. He almost lost his job. And the jury just heard that. He only testified for like 5 minutes and it was pointless. So I got more crime scene photos of the Dodge Charger. I think this is Woody's car, right? Or am I tripping? Am I thinking someone else's car? There's a lot of cars gotta keep track of, dude. And people.
All right, and is there one, do you see anything in the top right-hand corner of that same windshield?
Yeah, passenger side front fender. And then there's defects on the passenger side right door.
I processed projectiles and cartridge casings for latent fingerprints. None were located. And then submitted it into the crime lab for further processing.
I'm be honest, boys. We're 6 hours into the day. One witness like 12, and the state hasn't proved much.
You're sitting in your bedroom. What happens that stands out to you?
Well, nothing stood out to me that night.
Did anything happen to your home?
It did.
What happened?
Well, I don't know until the police came and told me.
Did he walk around any part of your house with you?
Yes, after he showed me 2 holes on the outside of my house.
All right, I get that's pretty serious. Her house got shot, but she didn't even know it happened when it happened. A cop had to tell her, so what are we doing here? All right, here's a crime scene tech. So apparently it's about wife and Lucci's mama's house getting shot up. Remember all that situation?
When you responded, was 1007 the only home that you responded to, or was there another home damage as well?
I do believe this is the only address, but according to my reports, the shell cases were photographed in front of other locations outside of the home and also inside of the home, as a picture frame and a closet wall or walls.
What is this painting, bro?
It appears to be a pantry or a closet.
Okay. After taking the picture, did you collect those shell casings?
I did.
Okay. And when you collected shell casings, would you have put those shell casings in individual bags?
Yes, we placed shell casings in individual bullet bags.
All right, we're getting some cross-examination from Max. I think this is literally the first time today. 7 hours in. That's how you know the testimony has been pretty terrible, because defense lawyers aren't even bothering to cross some of these people.
September the 25th, 2015.
Okay, so something happened September 25th, and then you take photos on October 4th. Is that unusual?
No, it's not.
Okay.
So apparently this is about the shooting where Shannon was a passenger and the lady got shot in the face that was driving him, and he was the target. She worked on this lady did. So he's not even asking her about wife and Lucci's mama's house getting shot up, which she just testified to.
The photo that you took, this photo, do you see any defects in that car?
Yes, in the rear of the vehicle.
In the rear of the vehicle. Okay, great.
Trying to show the jury that they got shot from behind.
Do you see additional defects to the rear of that vehicle?
Yes, on the rear passenger side. It's just basically showing it was just damage to the trunk, damage to the roof of the vehicle. Defects were in the rear, but the vehicle overall had a...
Defects, and when we say defects, we're talking about bullet holes, right?
Yes.
Bullet holes were to the rear of the vehicle.
That's correct.
All right, thank you. I have no further questions.
Oh, so that's all he wanted to point out. All right, so the next witness is wife and Lucci's mother. They're not going to show her, though.
And Rayshawn Bennett, what type of work does he do?
Music.
Music. And does he have a stage name that he goes by?
YFN.
Wife. And is it Wife and Lucci?
Yeah.
All right. And how long has he been in the music industry?
15 or 16, I'm not for sure.
Okay. To your knowledge, is your son signed to a specific music label?
Yes.
What music label is that?
I think it's a game.
That's kind of crazy if you think about it, because Thug and all these boys are YSL. They're in the same room as their rival gang member's mother, who they allegedly shot at.
Did the police have to respond to your home on the evening of January 22nd, 2015?
Yes.
Why did they have to come to your house?
Shooting.
What do you remember about what happened right before the shooting?
Nothing.
Were you doing anything at home?
Probably downstairs cooking. I don't even know. I don't remember.
Do you remember there was anyone else home with you?
Yes.
Who else was home with you?
My grandbaby. Her mother.
How many times back in 2015 was your home shot up?
Twice.
Were you injured at any one of those times that your home was shot up?
The second one.
Okay. Let's talk about the first time when you were not shot. Was there anyone home with you that first time?
Yes.
Okay. Was it the same people we just talked about?
Yes.
Remember Thug's lyrics in his song says, "We shot at his mommy, now he no longer mentioned me." Sorry, I know it's not funny because this lady sounds old and...
Nothing. We just jumped up. And then next thing I know, the police was at the door.
Okay. Sitting here today, do you remember how many gunshots you heard?
A lot of them.
When you heard the gunshots, at any point did you ever look out the window?
No.
To see anything?
Mm-mm.
Okay. And was there anyone injured during the first shooting?
No.
Prior to the first shooting, did anything like this ever happen at your home?
No.
Did you know who shot up your home? Did you ever learn who may have shot up your home?
No.
To this day, do you know why your home was shot up?
No.
That's good for the defense to get that in front of the jury. How would she not know if she knows her son is Lucci and has a beef with YSL?
And I think I asked, do you know if anyone who was living in your home had any issues or conflicts that would cause anyone to shoot up your house?
No.
No, you don't know, or no had any conflicts?
No.
No beef?
Tell the judge what you remember about that night.
I just heard a lot of gunshots.
In your room, was there anyone else in your room?
Yes.
Okay. Was that your friend?
Yes.
All right. And where was he at inside of the room?
In the bed. We noticed we were shot.
When you said we knew we were shot?
I said, that's when I noticed. I seen blood.
Once you saw the blood, did you try to get out of the bed?
No.
What about your friend? Did he try to get out the bed?
I think he did, because I think he went and grabbed my grandbaby. I can't remember.
Where were you hit?
In my right calf.
Oh, we've heard about this. I didn't know this was about Lucci's mama. They both got shot in their calves and in the bed.
And do you know where Elston was hit?
I don't remember. I didn't know it was in his leg.
His leg as well. And was this the bed that you were in when you heard those gunshots?
Yes.
That's pretty much it for day 144. 19 witnesses, and they didn't really do much. I mean, they just pointed out shootings, but didn't tie anyone to it. So at least they got through 19 witnesses, though. That's a positive, right? Hit subscribe. Don't shut membership. Love you guys. Peace out.